Music news.
Welcome, everybody, to the Two Dudes Talk Music podcast. We're doing a little bit different today. We weren't able to wrangle a guest for this week, unfortunately, but what we decided to do is we're just going to sit down, myself and my good friend Beer Buddy here, Kyle, and we're going to have a bit of a chat about some music news stories for you guys. Apologies if my voice starts to give out. I'm not the healthiest right now. But, we're just going to power through, talk about some industry news. And, yeah, so we're two dudes. Let's talk music.
Let's do it, man.
All right. So, the big one, the big fucking story everybody's talking about. Everyone's talking about it. If you're into metal, you haven't been able to escape this shit.
Man,
you haven't been able to escape this
if
fucking
you
story.
listen to music circa like fucking 1980 something to now, this has been so relevant for so long.
This is the big one. So obviously, as we mentioned, I put up a little thing on the page the other day. There's been quite intense discussion on that post, I must say, about the Pantera reunion, revival, tribute, whatever you want to call it. Basically, it was reported originally, I believe, through Billboard that Phil Anselmo and Rex Brown, the surviving members from Pantera, are going to be teaming up with Artist Group International for a run of shows under the Pantera name. First off, I mean, what's your initial thoughts on this, dude? Because this is big. This is something fans have been wanting for a while, but it's been a bit divisive. So, yeah, what's your thoughts on this one, man?
So when you first brought it out, I saw the video, and I did not know about this until I saw you post it on the Two Dudes Talk Music, and I was a bit distraught when I saw the post because I'm like, how the fuck can you do this? But I was talking to my old man. I work with the old man, massive Pantera fan. He's the one that got me into metal. And I said, like, what do you reckon? And he goes, oh, it's not really cool. And I initially understood what he thought, but then my mind went back and I thought, who's going to play with them?
Mm-hmm.
And that was my initial thought, because it's all good for Rex and Phil to jump in and say they're going to do what they do, but they need a guitarist and a drummer.
That is correct.
When it got announced that Zakk Wylde was jumping on guitar, it made me feel a lot better about the situation. That's Dimebag's best friend.
I will agree. That definitely helped. That definitely made me feel slightly better about it. And look, here's the thing, right? At the end of the day, we don't know the legalities of who owns what, but I would imagine that it's basically owned by Phil, Rex, and the Abbott Brothers estates.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as far as I've been able to find, if other information out there is contradicting this, I haven't seen it. But from what I've been able to find, Dime's estate has given it the all clear. Dime's estate has given it the go ahead.
His wife has officially said that it's all good.
Yep. I haven't heard anything about Vinny's estate, but I don't really know where that stands or who's in charge of that. But basically, yeah. So looks like so far it's just going to be a North American tour. I don't know if there's going to be any Australian dates, but yeah, Zakk Wylde on guitar. Obviously, played with Ozzy Osbourne and his own band Black Label Society, and Charlie Benante from Anthrax can be playing drums, which is, I mean,
that's something to be said in its own.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's Anthrax being one of the big four. The drumming is pretty intense in a lot of stuff. So, I mean, I have to imagine the guy's up for the job, up for the task. But a lot of people are out here feeling like, look, it's not really Pantera. It won't be the same, which I kind of understand. I kind of understand where they're coming from. Everyone's going to it's very divisive. Everyone's going to have their own position on this. I mean, if you want to get comments from people that are directly involved with it,
that would be amazing.
Zakk Wylde's commented, I think he was playing a festival over the weekend and he was obviously asked about it. Basically, I think his quote was, it's a Pantera celebration. That's what it is. You're celebrating Vinny and Dime's greatness. You're celebrating all the mountains that Pantera conquered and crushed, end quote, which I can kind of understand. He said before, if they ever wanted to do it, that he would do it. You know, he's always been up for it. So I don't really think there's anyone else that could have stepped in
I don't
to
think
do
there are
it.
anyone else that has the right to step in other than Dimebag's best friend.
Mm, yeah. I mean, and look, that said, I mean, you know, if you want to get a quote from from Vinny, you know, 2000 in the 2010s, obviously it was something he was asked about a lot. A couple of quotes from him during this time. Quote, honestly, if Dime was still here, that could be a possibility. But since he's not, you know, we had 14 great years. I'm very proud of it. And some stones are better left unturned. And another interview or another quote about it, he says, I want to look forward. I want to keep moving forward. I understand fans want to see it, especially people who've never had an opportunity to see Pantera. But without my brother being part of it, it just doesn't make any sense. I'm not going to trample on his legacy to make some people happy. End quote. So it's pretty clear how Vinny felt about it.
I did not
He
know
was
he actually said that. That's a
he seemed to be
gosh.
quite opposed to the idea of doing it without Dime's involvement, which, you know, you gotta respect that. I think
Yeah, but then
it's
he's in the worst way about it, and no disrespect to you know Vinny or anything, but
mhm.
he's not here to really.
Yeah, and I feel like that's the only reason it's happening. I
Yeah,
feel like
a
that's
hundred
the only reason
percent,
it's
a
happening.
hundred percent. This would never happen. This, look, my big issue is we know what feels like.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is a guy who like
He's
threw up a Nazi salute and yelled "White Power" at a gig.
and this is
Um,
he's gonna have like this, and this is my
he's got an uphill battle. He's got an uphill battle to win over a lot of the fans again, I think. And even then, I don't think it's going to be possible with a lot of them. I feel like he's done a lot of damage to his reputation and the band's reputation by behaving in the way he has a lot of the time.
yeah.
Um,
But that was
and you know,
Pantera. That was initially like if you've seen you know the the video, the tour videos of Pantera, that is what they were. They were fucking animals when they were on tour.
yeah,
Unfortunately, Phil was a separate beast on his fucking own.
yeah, well, that's it. I mean, it's well known his addiction issues and substance abuse issues that were a major contributing factor to the band concluding in the first place. But even since then, you know, there's a lot of stuff about his behavior and the way he's, you know, comments he's made and movements that he has appeared to be supporting that I just think it's really something that's going to come down to every fan's going to make their own decision about it, and they're just going to have to vote with their wallets, you know,
Yeah, I
and
think the
whether
first show is
they
going to be the. I think the first show is going to be the test. If Phil fucks this up, his career is fucking done. If he, you gotta like let's take a step back, and they're not going to write any new stuff. Pantera
no,
are not going to
they won't.
rejoin. They're not going to write any new
No, it's
stuff. So we can consider this, as far as I'm concerned, this is a fucking tribute show.
and if
It's
you look at it like that, I mean, and that's if it was if it was, you know, Phil and Rex playing if it was advertised as like Phil and Rex playing Pantera, or they toured under the name of like Cowboys from Hell or something like that, with the idea being that similar to when Dio, Geezer, and Tony toured as Heaven and Hell many years ago, and I know that came down to more legal issues of who owned the name of Black Sabbath than it did about anything of the same nature here. But I really feel like that might be a more appropriate way to go about it rather than the name of Pantera. And you know, look at and that might be splitting hairs, I think, but
yeah,
to call it, and a lot of, you know, look, a lot of bands have continued on without their original lineup, right? Like fucking Metallica, the Doors tried to do it as well for a couple of years. AC/DC
have
lost their, you
fucking
know,
done it.
lost singer, and so many. Yeah,
Queen have managed to, but see,
Queen.
Queen done it in a very look, and this is
That
what
was different though.
if it
That
can be
wasn't.
done in a tasteful way, it can be done properly.
Yeah,
It's got to be
but
done
Queen didn't.
tasteful.
Queen didn't tour as Queen; they toured as Queen
and
with
Aaron.
Adam Lambert.
Exactly, it's got to be done in a tasteful.
Um,
But see, the tour hasn't been announced, and this is like there's all we
the
know
dates
is
are not announced. No,
the
yeah,
dates are not announced. The tour. You know how they
like
always come
we
up
know
with
it's
a name.
happening, but
Like we know
yeah,
we know the whole Pantera thing is coming. What it's going to be
right.
called, though, I think. Do you honestly think Dimebag? Sorry, do you honestly think Zach would want it to be called Pantera? Because you've got to think
I
all parties got to be comfortable with this.
Well, look, I don't think Zach would be involved if he wasn't happy with the
Mm.
way it was looking like playing out. I can't speak to what he would be thinking, obviously, but I all I can say is, I feel like, look, Zach Wild doesn't need to take this for the payday. He doesn't need it for the notoriety. He doesn't
No, he's doing it
like
because he wants to fucking do it.
that. I get, the only reason that I feel like he would do it would be like he's not needing to do it for the notoriety or the payday. So it stands to reason then that he's doing it as a tribute to Dime, whether and that he's comfortable with everything he's been told about what they're planning to do. Uh, whether the fans are as comfortable with it or not, I don't know. I if bands like it's just so tricky because like some bands have made it work, right? Some bands
Yeah.
have made it work, and some bands just haven't been able to make it
No, they
work.
just faded to oblivion. Look
And
what happened to Sorry,
a
no.
band like a band like Pantera is just every member was just so essential to what the band was, and every member brought so much to it, and the synergy that they created was more than the sum of its parts.
Mm.
And I feel like it's like you say, it's going to be like a tribute show, right?
Mm.
Something that was said to me when I was doing some of my Korn tribute shows was, people don't. If it's a tribute show, people don't hear what you're playing. They don't listen to what you're playing. They hear the start of the song, they register what song it is, and then in their head, they're listening to the album,
Oh, that's a very good
basically.
theory.
And for a lot of fans, I think this is how that's going to be looked at. I mean, for me personally, would I go and see it? Well, I mean, I never got to see Pantera like back in the day. If I had the opportunity to go and see some version of it, I might take it. Like, I don't
Oh,
know.
I would. I would.
It'd be
When are you ever going to say in your lifetime that you got to see Pantera featuring? Realistically, at the end of the day, there were four people in Pantera. At the end of
yeah.
the day, no matter how much you want to cut it,
Mm.
like so four
Well, if I
people.
was to see this, I wouldn't say that I saw Pantera.
No, I'd say I saw Phil.
I'd say that I was
Rex.
at this tour,
Yep.
but I wouldn't say I saw
No.
Pantera.
No, that I agree with. See, I said this to my dad, and I was like, okay. Then I found out who was playing drums and guitar, and then I told him, and he went, I'm fucking going to that. I'm going to that
Yeah.
one because that is okay. Take a step back from Pantera. Let's have a look at the musicians that are playing. When are
Yeah.
you ever going to fucking see a lineup like that again? You're never going to fucking see a lineup like that.
Yeah.
Never in your... Like, I had to go and see the Big Four, right? Remember when the Big Four done that concert?
Mm-hmm.
I went to watch that with my old man, my uncle, and I took my old mate Vinny, and we went to Newtown because they were playing that on the big screen at Newtown
Yep.
in the cinemas.
Yep.
Fucking amazing. Because in this country, in Australia, we're never going to fucking see that lineup.
Yeah.
That was the closest thing we were ever going to fucking get to it.
I think the closest we got was a Soundwave with 3 of the 4 on there or something like that.
Yeah, and that was and look at the art, look at the times that they were playing Space, and one of them didn't play that weekend because there was a fucking riot.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, here's something for you. Here's an interesting thing that I saw about this just before we came on today. the Metal Sucks Twitter account did a poll to say, you know, are you interested in this reunion? Nearly 2/3 of the responses were no, or actually I think just over 2/3 of the responses were no.
Wow.
Which is pretty crazy considering how rabid a lot of the fan base is. I think, like I said, I think if Vinny was involved on drums, you could at least have that knowledge that one of the Abbott brothers was on board with it, and that, you know, he knew Dime well enough to say Dime would be okay with this, or, you know, like. But I feel like with neither of the Abbott brothers, it really throws a cloud over it for a lot of people. And look, this is going to be the talking point for a while, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be something we're going to, every update that comes out about it's going to be huge. We're going to
be talking about this until Phil fucks it up, because it's all going to come down at the end of the day. No, I'm being dead serious. If Phil fucks this up, you will watch Zach Wilde fucking clop Phil with a fucking Les Paul. I am being dead. Like, I can. Yeah. If this was me, and this is all I can think of, if this was me, I'd be grabbing Phil by the scruff of his neck, going, "Motherfucker, if you don't pull whatever you had back then and put that into this show, I will murder you. If you do anything to destroy the Pantera name or Dime's name because that's so connected, I will murder you." Like, the main person that has the biggest pressure on this is Phil.
I definitely think so. And there's a lot of, can he still do some of those vocals? I guess that's something that we'll just have to see, right?
Oh, it's going to be plastered all over YouTube. He's on that first show.
It's really going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. So, you know, we'll keep on top of this one. We'll absolutely be bringing you guys any further updates that we do see about it. Any more news that comes to light on it, we'll try and keep on top of this one, because we know that for a lot of you guys, this is a big story. And yeah, I mean, look, we obviously can't spend the whole video chatting about it, we possibly could, but we know you guys want more than just one story, so we're going to move on to something else. What have you got for me, dude? You were telling me some tour announcements or something.
Yeah, so we got Elton John. Elton John has finally announced his final show. It's called Farewell Yellow Brick Road, sorry. And that's it. He's calling it quits. Let's hope this doesn't end up like a John Farnham thing where he just keeps on rolling through the one last big Australian hurrah. He's doing Newcastle, Sydney, Melbourne, Perth, and Brisbane.
Okay, we're Newcastle.
I'm sure I saw Newcastle on there. He's playing at one of the wineries or something.
Yeah, no, I'm looking at. I've looked it up. I brought the page up. That's pretty crazy, man. Like, Newcastle's interesting. I'm sure that one will go down.
That will be at some beautiful winery.
It's at McDonald Jones Stadium.
Oh, there you go. See, there you go. He's doing it. He's doing it all. He's doing it all, and it. Let's hope he goes out graciously and doesn't just keep on trying to hammer those farewell tours.
I feel like it's probably. Yeah. I mean, he's like 75.
He is.
You know,
but he's still got it, man. That's what.
Absolutely, he does. Absolutely, he does.
It just shows you, obviously, like, the vessel doesn't matter as long as you keep training the vocals. It just...
Right, okay. So I'm just reading a bit more on here. Apparently, because I didn't realize this, he was doing like 19 shows during this, the last time he was here, but that was leading into like March of 2020, and we all know what happened then. We don't need to mention it by name.
Yep. The Voldemort.
The ongoing global bastard. And right, well, that explains why it was cut short, and so he's coming back to do some more shows.
He's coming out.
That's pretty cool. Like, I really think that's pretty cool. So he's I think, man, I'll be honest, dude, like, if I'm still in a state at 75 where I can fucking go on stage and play music of any kind, I'll be pretty fucking happy, I think. So he's earned the right to sort of go, yep, I'm going to finish and do it how I want to do it.
He's
Look,
probably one
good
of
on
the
him.
most credible
Good
musicians
on
in the
him.
pop scene, and
I'm not. Yeah, like I'm
I
not.
would go.
Yeah,
I would
personally, I
go.
don't.
I would
Look,
go.
if someone said, "Do you want to go and see this?" and it was like, and I didn't have to shell out hundreds of dollars for a ticket, sure, but I'm not. If I had paying for a ticket, I wouldn't pay for a ticket, but I bet it'd be an absolute spectacle,
It
right?
would
I bet
be.
it'd be an incredible show. He seems like quite a performer and a showman, so I really hope that that these shows go well. And if you go and see it, or if you're interested in going to see these shows, like hit us up, mention in the comments, get involved with all that
Yeah,
stuff. Let us know
man.
what's going on.
Are you taking your
Um,
kids? Are you taking your kids to see that?
yeah, well,
What?
I mean, it's been going on. Korea's been going on for so long now. You have like 3 or even maybe 4 generations of people can go to a show like that
Yeah, man.
and enjoy it. So it looks like it'll be a good one. He's doing New Zealand as well, I think. Uh, so Auckland, yep, definitely doing Auckland there. So yeah, man, it's going to be awesome. I think it's stoked. I think his fans are going to be really really happy about that, getting one more chance to see him. And we're going to see a lot of this. I think a lot of these tours that were going to happen, then got postponed and postponed. I think they're finally going to start happening, which is
Yeah,
really good to see.
it's fantastic. It's so good.
Speaking of farewells and performers we're probably not going to see again, 12 Foot Ninja.
Don't,
I know it's
don't,
heartbreaking, man. It's
don't.
heartbreaking. 12 Foot Ninja have announced, so Melbourne heavy metal band 12 Foot Ninja, in case you didn't know they were Australian or from Melbourne, have announced an indefinite hiatus. Basically, their singer Nick announced in December 2021 that he'd be leaving the band. And essentially, they just haven't been able to find a replacement that they believe is suitable. They put out a statement on their social media saying apparently they had over 200 submissions of interest in the spot. From all over the world, not just Australia, which, I got to say that's pretty impressive. Like, I know that, like, compared to some artists, they might not be enormous necessarily, but you got to remember this is a band from Melbourne that has done incredibly well for themselves. They've
They've
made a
absolutely
name for
hammered it.
themselves all over the world. So I'm not surprised that they had that much interest. However, they couldn't really find any of the submissions that felt that I believe the wording was that felt like 12 Foot Ninja. So on top of that, and they've expressed that the personal resources required to maintain a band through some very difficult times. Again, let's not make any illusions about how difficult it has been for people that rely on live performances as a career over the last couple of years. Like if you're Metallica, you're gonna be fine, right? Like you've got millions of dollars, you've got the fucking the revenue from record sales and things like that still coming in and things like that. But if you're like a blue collar musician as such, these people that are getting by with it as their career, it's been very very hard. And I fully appreciate a band that might say after a couple of years of that, nah, it's not something we can continue to do. If we don't have a singer. And this also means that they've had to cancel their 2023 shows that were announced for Europe.
Yep.
So unfortunately,
A
this
lot of
is
pissed
like
off people, man.
a lot of people upset that they won't get that final chance to see the band. They're keeping their website and social medias active. From what I could see on their website, it now looks like it's just like a mailing list sign up. And what they've said they're planning to do is keep everyone informed about new projects that all the members are involved in, and if there's any potential discussion, if there's discussions about a reunion of any kind, it's going to be all over their social medias. So farewell to this
man.
amazing Aussie band.
I've seen them.
I've seen them a couple of times. I've seen them a couple of times at some
Dude.
festivals, and they blew me out of the water. I mean, I don't think I've seen a lot of bands. There's not many bands can weave genres together like that. I think they actually released a film clip like in the last week as well. So definitely check that out. Also, give them some support on that.
Give them some love. One last
They're gonna
time.
need it, 100%, 100%, and play the shit loud this weekend
man.
because
I will be.
absolutely, man. I think
Me and the
if we
missus, That was the concerts me and the missus used to go to. You know, she loves 12 Foot Ninja, like loves 12 Foot Ninja,
Yeah, man. Well,
and
they're crazy. They're an incredible band. They really are.
it's yeah, man. And you know, I don't know if you saw the statement that came out from Stev when it all happened. It was completely a misalignment of work ethic that put them into this space where it was like Stevic likes pain within his work. Do you know what I mean? Like if he's working hard, it hurts. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's uncomfortable. Whereas Kin the singer is a very easygoing, free flowing, like just you know. And from what I read, it was that sort of conflict there that sort of put them at this impasse, which is very sad.
It's yeah. I mean, look, you hate to see any successful band come to a point like this, especially an Australian band that's doing really well for themselves in a space that Australian bands typically struggle to do really well in. You know, as I said, hopefully they can either sort their issues out and come back together again, or find a new singer eventually, because I'd love to see that band continue on. They really were flying the flag internationally for Australian metal, so
Mate,
and a
that's
great
all with
example of the
Periphery.
talent, great example of the talent that's on display here. So, I mean, I know still got like Parkway Drive and some other ones as well, but
Dude, I've been going to
this
shows
really-
lately. The absolute understatement that is Australian metal, rock, grunge.
yeah,
It's just fucking unbelievable. Like, there needs to be a way where we can find a breakout into that American market and show them, because we haven't got the population here. It's not dense
Yeah.
enough. As much as you say it's crowded, it's not dense enough.
yeah, exactly. It's always been the problem.
Yeah.
We're so far away from a lot of other stuff, and it's not like, I mean, sure, you know, for maybe a solo acoustic performer or maybe a duo, you can go and if you're doing like lighter stuff, you can do the rural route and you can do like the pubs and clubs and everything, and you can make kind of a living off of it. But really doing that, you know, loading up the car, driving, doing a show, driving 5 hours to the next town, doing a show the next night, driving 5 hours to the next town, doing a show that night, driving that doesn't work here, unfortunately. But
Man,
not to the same degree as it does. It's because the town, yeah, you can get to the next town, but the next town's going to have maybe 10 people come out to your show.
have you played Country Towns yet?
Not with Skunkbone. Been out to a few more rural places, but
Because that's how Northlane done it. They just hammered all those little towns.
yes. And it'd be awesome for everyone to be in a financial position to be able to do that.
Oh
But
man,
it comes down to a question of, you know, how long people are willing to do that for, and have. And you know what? Yeah, not everyone's gonna have the opportunity to do that, and that's
not when petrol's $2 a litre.
that's fine.
Fuck no.
But yeah, exactly. What else? What's the next one, mate? What have you got here for us?
I'm keep on bringing on the international stuff at the moment.
That's all right, man. That's all right.
Look, legendary singer Tom Jones, 82 years old, has had a massive health scare just before he's walked on stage. He had a show in Budapest.
Oh, that's a shame, man.
Man,
I mean, 82 though. Jesus, we're talking about Elton John being 75.
I know, and it just goes to show you that, I don't know, man. There's something about those musicians back then they're built different. I don't know. But
Well, I will say it probably helps that you know, they're not like metalheads out there thrashing their neck when they fucking play a show every fucking time.
that's exactly right. It's a lot easier. So he actually collapsed just before he went onto stage. So they basically just postponed the whole thing, made sure he was okay. So his next lot of shows through there have been cancelled. They actually haven't disclosed what fully is going on with him. But
I'm just reading. I'm seeing here. Apparently, the official word is viral laryngitis
okay. So he just
as the reason. But
you have
yeah, I
all
mean,
sorts of them, man.
it's You know, that's according to the Channel 7 website.
And then I just have a
with
look at
their
this
article on
thing
there,
that goes, did Tom Jones...
But
I'm not going to
yeah,
read that. I'm not going to read that. I'm not going to read that.
but you know, saying apparently, so in his statement, he's saying here that he saw a doctor, strongly advised postponing the show and prescribed medication and vocal rest. I did not collapse anywhere at any time. That is pure rumor. Hopefully the information will calm down soon, as I'm looking forward to continuing my summer tour.
There you go.
So that's a statement. So hopefully, you know, well, it's good to hear that he didn't collapse. You know, that's obviously, I mean, it's not good that he's unwell, but it's better that he wasn't so unwell that he collapsed. But I mean, it's got to suck for the fans there, right? Like, you know, you're in the stadium
Waiting.
and then oh, sorry, the show can't go ahead. Like, that's got to be kind of heartbreaking.
I wonder if they rioted like the Slayer fans at Soundwave.
But I don't think so.
But you know what, man? It's not unusual.
Yeah. But yeah, so obviously, you know, wishing all the best to Mr. Tom Jones.
Yeah, man.
As if anyone who knows Tom Jones is ever going to see this video and even pass any of that on. But you know what I mean.
All our
like,
best, man.
Hopefully he gets well soon and can continue the show and put on the show for those fans because, yeah, it's very unfortunate that it all had to be cancelled very last minute there. But maybe some of those, maybe some of the people that missed out on that one could find some new music.
Like Skunkbone.
Well, no, but I mean, you know, speaking of, you know, trying to do a smooth transition into the next story here. I'm trying to practice my segues.
Sorry,
you know
bud.
what I mean? Yeah. But yeah, maybe they can find some new music through Twitch. So getting on to our next story there, basically, Sorry, I'm just trying to see exactly where the study originated from.
I think I heard about it.
But basically, yeah. So there was a study that was done. Apparently, Twitch hired analytics platform Luminate to do a whole bunch of, you know, studies and analysis and interviews with people and surveys and all that business. Apparently, Twitch is really becoming important to how people are discovering new music. So this surprised me. I will say this surprised me, given, you know, it's primarily viewed as a gaming platform. And there's a lot of issues around like copyright claims and, you know, streaming copyright licensed music in the background of your streams and things like that. I know when I've streamed on there in the past and had, you know, haven't had like authorization to use music or whatever, those bits have got silenced on the VODs. But obviously during the live stream, it's a bit harder to jump in and do it. But essentially 1 in 3 people are discovering, 1 in 3 music listeners are discovering new music through Twitch, which is huge.
Massive.
It is. This is a study that was done.
We're 2 people. If there was another person there, they'd be finding music on Twitch.
So the study was done in the last sort of later part of 2021, mainly focusing on consumers in the US aged between 13 and 40. And there's about 2,300 participants from what they're saying here. And basically as many as 33% of music listeners are finding new music through the Twitch platform. Most of this is coming from streamers talking about music or recommending bands or songs during their live stream. So, you know, that's an interesting one. So it seems to be more like, you know, just chatting with their audience, like, oh, hey, I was listening to this really cool band. You guys should check them out. Away you go. But that's interesting. And other interesting things they found in the study as well. So it looks like Twitch users on average spend 21% more time per week listening to music than a non-Twitch user who is also like very heavily engaging with music. And apparently it backs up financially too, because what they're saying is apparently 46% more. They're spending 46% more on music than the average music listener, which is big. I mean, that's a huge margin there. So it honestly sounds like trying to get your shit out there on Twitch. It's not a useless platform. It's not, it's music. I think really musicians need to pick up a bit on Twitch. Some of them are doing it already. Individual artists are using it as a really great way to engage with their fans. But it just seems like I think it's something more bands are probably going to be needing to engage with as almost out of necessity going forward. Also, you should listen to Skunk Bone. This is my thing.
They are very good.
But and apparently, yeah, this is the one that really blew me away. This statistic is the one that really, really blew me away. So again, we're comparing a Twitch user versus the average music listener. Twitch users made over 10 times more direct to artist payments per month than the average music listener.
This brings up
Let that sink in for a minute.
Oh, this really reinforces. Do you remember when this might have been maybe a week or two ago? I think it was when we were talking to Kid Crusher, and I was talking about T-Pain.
Mm-hmm.
T-Pain only streams on Twitch.
Mm.
He don't do music no more. He said it. He goes, "I've made more money on Twitch than what I've made in my music career."
Yeah, and you know what? I think the direct connection is the big thing here, right? Like, I think that's what it comes down to. The fact that, someone from a band can be streaming on Twitch and engaging with their fans, and the fans having that direct access, they're very, very happy about. They'll buy subs, they'll put, tips and all sorts of stuff on there.
Even Snoop Dogg does
to get
now.
that shout out. And I think that's, like I said, I think that's a revenue stream that more and more bands are going to be engaging with out of necessity. And, as more younger artists keep coming up, that's going to become more and more common, right? So it's going to be a space to watch for sure. A little bit of other info that came out of the study as well. If you're interested in what genres this seems to be affecting.
I am.
Majority is EDM, which is not surprising. Like, I know if you go onto the DJ streams,
like those lo-fi and
like the electronic EDM, electronic dance music, right?
Yeah.
So, and then that makes sense, right? Because you can have a DJ on there who's got their whole setup and is, mixing stuff and composing stuff on the fly, or just having basically doing a rave DJ set but streaming it on Twitch, which is not, that's common. That's great. That's an easy one to do because most of it's electronic. It's easy to just interface with your computer and off you go, right? But the other popular genres that were also coming through with that, hip hop was another big one. Metal, unsurprising. A lot of metalheads these days are into gaming and, they're embracing that. So I'm not surprised that there's a big crossover there with a platform like Twitch. And the last one, which was very, very curious to me initially, but when I thought about it, it made a lot of sense, was classical music.
Really?
Now, yes, but again, I know it seems weird, but you have to remember a lot of classical music is public domain now. And even a lot of early recordings of it are also public domain. So that's where you start to get into some interesting territory, because if you've got a musical composition and a recording of that composition that are both in the public domain, anyone can utilize that without having to pay any copyright at all. So, you can just use that music, and in your streams, without having, it's free, it's easy, you can just do it. So that one did surprise me at first, but once I gave it some thought about why it might be, it started to make a bit more sense. So
it does make sense if you ain't got to pay for it.
So look, yeah, I guess the moral of this story is, look, if you're in a band, find a way to engage on Twitch. Find a way to get your name out there on Twitch, because, it seems to be where, that seems to be where the people are, and you have to get your shit in front of the people. Otherwise, there's no point.
Especially if you're trying to hit that younger demographic now.
And you have to, right?
We're done.
That's where you have to. I mean, these are the people that, if you can start getting the attention of that teenage audience,
you're there.
Once they turn 18, Who are they going to come and see? They're going to want to come and see you. That's what it is. That's what you need to do. So yeah, I mean, look, that seems to be what the story is there. Some surprising facts out of that, I think. At least surprising initially, but once you put some more thought into them, they are making a bit more sense. So we'll see how that goes. I'll be curious to see if they do that study again in, 3-5 years' time, how those percentages change.
Well, it sounds like the shift has gone from SoundCloud.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? And that's a big thing, is that people don't just want the music, they want the face of the music now.
They want the interaction. I think the interaction
and personality is a big thing now. It's almost at the stage now where you need to be not a triple threat, but you need to be a double threat. You need to have a personality and you need to be able to play music.
Yeah, definitely.
Which isn't a bad shift.
No, triple threat helps. It helps to be good looking. Really, really ridiculously good looking.
It does. But like we all know, Mick Jagger is one ugly motherfucker. So is Gene Simmons.
True. But, you could be ugly back then because you just needed talent.
Yeah, I know. It's so true.
Hot take, I know. But, yeah. So, that's that one.
Oh, dude. What next one?
Speaking of getting ugly.
Oh, dude, the shit's getting ugly. You know it's getting ugly when Billy Joe Armstrong at a London show officially renounces his US citizenship due to the fucked up shit that's been going on over there.
That's heavy, man. That's heavy. Like, I don't know.
You have one of the probably most influential voices from the punk scene spanned across probably the last 30 years. Dude, Green Day is fucking solid. Green Day are fucking solid.
Here's the thing. It's the kind of... Look, I'm not gonna... Sorry, I shouldn't have grimaced like that. I'm not trying to take anything away from Green Day. It's more of a... What genre they should be in is a weird one for me, but that's not the debate to have right now. Yeah. So I won't. I shouldn't have.
Yeah. No. That's.
But it's an interesting story.
But the fact that he's turned around. He's gone, fuck America. I'm fucking renouncing my citizenship. The American idiot singer told the crowd, I'm fucking coming here. He's going to the UK. He's done. It's just too much fucking stupid in the world to go back to that miserable fucking excuse for a country. Armstrong added. And I'm not kidding. You are going to get a lot of me in the next coming days. So obviously, with the Roe versus Wade thing and the constant school shootings that have just happened again, and 3 other people got shot up at a mall recently. You've got people in Texas talking about little kids wearing clear backpacks when none of the kids were the shooters. It was an outside shooter that walked into the school. I completely understand what he's saying. I guess I do not disagree, but at the same time, fuck, you picked your fruit from over there, man. Like,
look, it's hard. It's really hard. It's nice. It's easy for someone that's got, it's easy for someone that's got all of that money and success to then turn around and have the luxury of doing that. That said, look at what happened to the Dixie Chicks, man.
Oh, who?
Like they were like huge in the country scene. They were massive, and with the country music scene shifting from being very anti-government, and questioning authority and all that anti-authority. But basically, old country was very punk rock.
I agree.
It was very punk rock, and then this shift happened after 9/11, where it started becoming more and more right wing, more and more patriotic, and the Dixie Chicks were like, "Nah, this government's fucked," and all this kind of stuff, and they basically got shunned, and
their careers got decimated.
It really shot their careers down. That said, rock and roll seems to have, for the most part, retained a lot of that anti-establishment vibe. So
I
I
don't
don't
think
think it's going
people.
to damage. I don't think it's going to damage Green
Yeah.
Day nearly as much.
Look, in all honesty, I think
I mean,
a lot of the Western world is just like fuck
this
America
is
at
a.
the
I mean,
moment.
this is a band that has a. They wrote a song called American Idiot. Like, of
It
course
went gangbusters.
they're
The
going to
whole
be
album
anti.
went gangbusters.
Yeah, of course that saying this is like this isn't a new sentiment out of him, out of the band. So like, cool if that's something he wants to do. Obviously, he's entitled to do that as an individual. And I think people coming out here, if people, I haven't heard.
Yeah, come to
It's,
Australia, Billy.
look, this is today is the first I'm hearing of this. I haven't seen a lot of the response to it. I'll be honest. I imagine there'll be a lot of they can't stick to just playing music and keeping politics out of it.
That
It's art.
I hate.
It's art.
No,
Art is inherently
political,
inherently makes a statement, and a lot of the time that statement is political. Um,
bro.
it's like these people coming out here saying, like these right wings getting upset that Rage Against the Machine is, you know,
Do you know
opposes their values and stuff, and
Oh
it's like, well,
god.
but that's a different story.
No,
We
but
don't
the
we,
whole
we're not trying to start a rant section.
it's not
We're
really
not trying to
it's not
start a
really a
rant
rant.
section.
I think the whole point of it is that what people need to understand is that the reason, like, musicians are kind of like comedians in that sense, where they really sit and break boundaries of political thought. Okay. Now, let's be serious. American Idiot. American Idiot came out how long ago? It was like 10, like probably 10, 15 years, like something stupid like that, 10 years ago.
Probably even closer to 15.
Yeah, okay. Okay, well, so say 10
Mm,
to 15 years ago, whenever it came out.
mm.
The reason why that album went gangbusters is because everyone agreed. They spoke about political stuff and everyone agreed with that political standline. The reason why Rage Against the Machine were as big as what that... Dude,
Oh, dude,
you
dude.
cannot turn around and say musicians need to stick to politics. Musicians need to
No,
keep
no, I
them like
a
no,
hundred percent.
not
I
you, not
100%. And the
you.
thing is,
They've
and
been
I get it.
talking
Like
about fucking politics the whole time.
everyone, and the thing is, musicians should stick to music and keep out of politics. Well,
It's what they've been
there's
talking
still
about the whole fucking time.
there's yes, that's what they've been talking about the whole time. But they're also still people.
They
Do you know
vote.
what I mean? Like they're also still people. They
They
vote.
still vote.
They can have a say, and they have a platform. So why wouldn't they have a say? But you want to know how long ago American Idiot came out?
Don't make me feel that old. It's 20 years ago, isn't it?
It would be able to buy a drink.
Oh
It's
fuck.
18 years ago.
Fuck. But that just goes to show you what the political landscape was like back then.
Yeah. No, but absolutely. Like this is a band that said that gave the middle finger to America 18 years ago. I'm not surprised. I'm not
Like,
surprised. So,
like it's not Rage
you know,
Against
like,
the Machine's fault that you didn't know what machine they were raging against, and now that they're coming
yeah,
back out and they're explaining what machine they're raging against, that you're upset about
yeah,
it.
exactly. And just on that, they're an obvious, easy example in this scenario. Like they, at their shows, their first shows back recently, they were making a lot of statements about it. They put up some very powerful messages behind them during their set, talking about, like overturning Roe v. Wade. So, look, it's a hot topic. I think there's going to be more musicians commenting on it. More musicians. I think there's going to be a lot of music come out of the current political climate in the US. I think, and look, we're not experts on
Oh man,
US politics
we're
by
in the
any
lucky
means.
country, mate.
Where and there's
Semi-lucky.
there's a lot of factors we're not aware of. So when we can't comment too much on that in terms of our own opinions necessarily, but I think it's pretty clear something's got to change because the way that country's headed is,
Scary.
I don't know. It's scary. It really, really is.
That's all it is.
And
It's just scary. And more
it's
power
nuts.
to Billy Joe Armstrong for actually standing with his conviction and really pushing that political view. And
I'll be very interested to see if he actually does it. That's another thing we have to consider. He said he's going to do it.
we'll see. Put your money where your mouth is, Billy. Come to Australia.
Will he actually do it? That's the next question. But because it's easy. Again, he could. We don't know. He could stand up there and say that to try and get a response and get people talking about it, and then quietly he just kind of doesn't do it. But at the end of the day, I guess we'll just have to see if that happens or not. Coming back to our side of the world,
Yeah, man.
coming back to our side of the world, not quite Australia, but New Zealand, just over the pond, they have made some changes to their copyright laws as it pertains to music. So, basically, I know this is a complete change of direction.
No, it doesn't matter. It's
from
good.
what we've been talking about, but we want to try and hit a range of stories here. So, New Zealand has extended their copyright term on sound recordings up to 70 years. Now, this is an increase of 20 years from what they had previously. Previously, it was a 50-year term, but basically, New Zealand's in the middle of working out a trade agreement with the European Union. In the European Union, the term on sound recordings for copyright is 70 years. New Zealand's bringing theirs in line with that. Basically, that's what's happening here.
So what does that basically mean? After 70 years, that the song's released, it's free reign to anyone.
So the way I was reading it there is after it's released, the sound recording. Now I think this is the important distinction to make here. We're talking about, I believe, the sound recording, not copyright. Not copyright on the song itself.
Okay.
So for those who may not be fully aware, basically there's multiple different types of copyright. There's copyright on the song itself as a creative work. So what that means is, if I write a song, I hold copyright over that ownership. I own the copyright to that song, right? If someone else was to record it and release it and they weren't paying me the royalties and fees they're required to pay me in order to do so, I can go and do something about it, right? That copyright, I believe, is the term of copyright on that is based on when I die. So from when I die, there's a certain amount of time after that. But a sound recording has a different set of copyright rules around it. Okay, so that's what they're talking about here. So if I record the song and release that, that has a different that's a different rules around that.
Okay.
On how that recording can be used. So what they're saying here is that it's 70 years from the release of the recording. And this will bring, as I said, this will bring New Zealand in line with the European Union, the UK, Australia. All these countries have 70 years on sound recordings. The US has 95, which is insane. But they've always, Disney's been getting in the government's ear every time Mickey Mouse comes near to getting into public domain and just extending copyright on everything as far as they can. As long as they can keep getting away with that, they're going to be doing that. But the US is 95 years, which is it's crazy to me. 70 years, I think, seems pretty reasonable, to be honest with you. And essentially, this is an agreement. It's currently being drafted. It's going to be expected to be ratified within 2 years, and the changes are expected to be actually brought into effect within about 4 years of that happening. So, you might see as that approaches, people might hold off. I don't know if it's like retroactive or not, but basically this is a change that is going to be coming into effect in the next sort of 5 or 6 years, I would imagine. And good. It's awesome. It's going to give them the same protections that a lot of other artists from across the world experience. So I think it's a good move. It just brings it in line with the rest of the major markets.
That's good.
I know market talk can be boring sometimes, but
look, man, at the end of the day, if it gives more people opportunity to use older music to keep it relevant, I don't see it as a bad thing. I think it's all obviously got to be dependent on the way it's used.
And when you think about it as well, right? Like, if I record and release a song when I'm like 20 and the copyright on that is 50 years, I'm 70 by the time that runs out. That's kind of right when I really need to be getting as much as I can from it, right?
And how good would it make it if someone came up to you and said, "That song is boss, I want to re-release it"?
Well, yeah, but so I think increasing it to 70 is a good idea. Like, that'll give basically lifetime protection for the lifetime of the artist, even if they release it at a fairly young age. So that seems pretty reasonable to me.
Even looking at it from a different perspective, it actually gives opportunity for maybe another generation to re-release the song. In a sense, like if you wrote a song and then your grandchild was into music and you showed him the song and he went, "That's awesome. Can I do it again?"
Well, again, we're talking about sound recordings,
Ah,
not
okay. Yeah,
not
not the
songs
songs.
themselves.
Okay.
So if they were to record the song and do a cover of it, that's a different sound recording. So that's why it's important to make these distinctions because
Okay.
there's different copyright rules in place around it all, and it gets very complicated.
I did not know that.
Oh, dude, that's just two. There's like so many different copyright and royalty little things. It's a nightmare. And it's fairly boring for the layperson, I would imagine. So we'll try and move on. Did you have anything else, or do
I
we want to go
did,
to this last
man. No,
one?
no, no, no. I got one. I got
All
one
right.
because I'm
Yep.
a fan. I went to this. I went to Splendor in the Grass back in the day. So Splendor in the Grass have decided to, well, not so much Splendor. It's more the police have decided to reinforce the liquor license laws at Splendor in the Grass this year. It's not like they were very laxed with it. Like there were police presence there. Everyone that was drinking was over the age. You just had to get a wristband and whatever.
Yep.
But now they are basically saying that if you are under the age of 18 and you have a ticket, you need to be accompanied by an adult. Which,
I mean, what? Well, they wouldn't let. What's the youngest age that's allowed entry anyway?
well,
Wouldn't it be
realistically,
like
it's
16?
like 16. 16, I think.
So I don't think that's unreasonable, to be perfectly honest with you.
Yeah, but like you get your license at 16. Like
Like
so you could potentially
parent or guardian,
look.
you know.
See, I when you used to go to Big Day Out, it was as simple as this. It was if you're under the I think it was if you're under 13, you need an adult, and that was it. If you're under the age of 13, like basically we don't want anyone to like if you can't buy your own ticket, you're not coming here without an adult.
Yeah, and look, I think, I think the biggest issue around this situation is the short notice.
That is really my
That's the biggest one. That's the
Yeah.
biggest gripe I think that anyone can have with it.
because
You
it's
know,
this weekend.
yeah, like look, festivals are going to run with whatever rules they're going to run with, right? End of story. They'll make their decisions, and that will decide whether they, that'll help inform whether they're successful or not, right? If they make a decision that most people deem is not a popular one, people aren't going to buy the tickets to go. That's on them. That's fine. And they're well within their rights to say this, and whether it's by the police or the insurance companies or the local council that's given them a license to have the event, or the people organising it themselves, whoever is responsible for enforcing this decision, for pushing this decision ahead, the biggest gripe just has to be the short notice.
Yeah,
That's
really
it. Like, because how many people under the age of 18 would be going already without a parent or legal guardian?
yeah,
I
that's
don't
true.
know.
That's true. I can
But
imagine if the age limit
is-
is 16 of what you can walk in,
Mm.
like or 15, it's like MA 15 plus whatever. As long as you're 15, you can go in on your own. Obviously, but in saying that though, when I did go to Splendor last time, the place is so fucking big. It's very hard to regulate.
Yeah. Well, that's always the problem with festivals, right? It's just there's so many people in such a big area. Regulating anything is going to be tricky.
It would be easier to not let those people in
Yeah.
than have to sit around and watch them for the whole day. Like cost
Yeah.
wise.
Yeah, definitely. But that's one of the reasons festivals are starting to become unviable. Like
Oh, insurance in Australia
you
is
got
just fucking stupid.
the insurance and the security requirements, it starts to just become untenable. But so look, I think Splendor's this weekend, if I'm not mistaken. So if you're going or if you're there, I hope you have a good time. I hope this hasn't impacted you. This change is a very last minute change.
Please
but-
tell me how the fucking the Oliver Tree set was. Make sure you comment
Yeah.
if you go. Tell me how.
Yeah,
the Oliver
if you're
Tree
there,
set was.
jump. If you were there at Splendor, jump in the comments. Let us know how it was. Shout out to Brad doing security down there. We will be having Brad on next week for talking about his band Nuclear Vision's comeback. But I think he's doing his Seki job down there at the moment. So shout outs to Brad. And yeah, jump in the comments. Let us know if you have gone to Splendor. what you enjoyed. If you found these restrictions that affected you in any way, definitely let us know. We'd love to hear from you.
Mate,
So,
you got the big one.
I think we got one more now. This is actually a story that I believe we talked about on the pilot episode. So this is a bit of a
Rehash.
update on that, bit of a rehash, bit of an update on that. So what we did discuss on our pilot episode, if you didn't catch that, was we talked about Guy Sebastian's former manager, Titus Day, having been charged with embezzlement, and how that was all going. Basically, he was found guilty of most of those charges. He was charged with 47 counts, was found guilty of 34, which basically came to a total of over $600,000 that he embezzled from his clients, which is that's a lot of money to lose.
That was just one client. That was just Guy Sebastian.
He's due for sentencing in September. Now, I think you mentioned something. Apparently, he's out on. Is he out on bail while he's awaiting sentencing?
I'm pretty sure he got bail. I'm pretty sure he got bail.
Okay.
I'm 99.9999% sure that he got bail.
So we have an update from Guy Sebastian on this situation, or a bit of he's spoken out about it. He was basically doing an interview on the Kyle and Jackie O show, and he basically what he said was he considers this to be about more than just him versus Titus. So I'll read you the quote. It's a bit of a lengthy one, so bear with me. But what he's said here is, quote, "Why can't we just implement things that start to turn that around and make it more difficult for managers to do that?" And the way you would do that in this case, obviously, is not to just brush this thing over. It's a very serious charge, like 34 counts that he was found guilty of, and it was very painful to fight it. It shouldn't have been that painful. There's artists that can't do what I just did. They can't go through this process, like indie artists and people who are just living gig by gig. So I think it's beyond me a little bit, and it's more about setting a precedent to make sure that this doesn't happen. End quote. So I 100% agree. Like, this sort of thing needs to be a shot across the bow. Managers, and I know it's a bit of a industry like stereotype. You see it in movies all the time, right? The fucking manager that's like, I can make so much money with this person, and whether they're embezzling or not, like maybe they just give them a bad contract that, you know, that takes way more than they deserve to the manager or something. But there is a lot of good managers out there. Please don't let that put you off that. If you're an up-and-coming artist, you just need to make sure you read your contracts properly and that you compare it and get legal advice.
Get a lawyer. Just spend the money and get a lawyer.
Absolutely.
The money you spend on a lawyer now
will save you a lot of money on lawyers later on.
Thank you.
It absolutely will. So, yeah, I mean, look, we will continue to monitor this case. As I said, sentencing is in September, bullshit. So... You know, I think we'll try and keep an eye on it, and when there's word about the sentencing, we'll absolutely update you guys. This is a story, as I said, this is our second time touching on this story. I think it's going to make sense for us to come back and update when there is more news on it as that comes along. So,
and good on Guy Sebastian for actually taking that step forward to actually put it to his fucking manager for ripping him off, because
absolutely,
like you said in that quote that he said. He has the money to do it. How many other people out there? How many other musicians that don't?
Yep.
And the mere fact that they're devils. They're devils in suits.
It's I mean, look, it's so easy to, like I said, that's definitely the stereotype out there. And the industry has very much changed over the years of what these people do in their roles, but at the end of the day, you just got to come down to, like I said, making sure you're making those smart decisions, reading those contracts before you sign anything.
Yep.
And still having checks and balances in place.
And don't win Australian Idol because you get stuck with shit managers.
I think, I think Guy Sebastian, he's obviously doing a lot between the different shows that he's involved with and his different musical endeavors and charity work. So he probably doesn't have time to do checks and balances on his stuff the way that some people might. But the finances are boring. I know they are.
But they're so important.
But they're important. The amount of times that, and it's not just managers either, guys. Like, it's not just managers either. You need to have transparency and accountability when it comes to finances. Bands having one person only be in charge of the finances and not being transparent about it, it's so easy for someone to pinch that money and just run off. especially if they, if there's a bad situation of them being kicked out of the band, they might just abscond with all of the money. For example, with Skunkbone, like the bank account it's in my name. It's on my accounts. It's a separate bank account, but it is under my name because it was just easiest to do it that way. And I'm constantly updating the guys on stuff. Whenever we have monthly band meetings, I'm showing them the statements, I'm showing them the spreadsheets, tracking everything. We had our end of financial year meeting last weekend.
Wow, fucking hell!
Like because you got to have that accountability and transparency.
Well,
there.
no, at the end of the day, if you do that, you have nothing to answer.
This is what people
Everyone
doing.
knows everything.
Yep, this is what people are doing, and tracking everything from individuals' contributions versus band income. So what individuals are putting in there versus what the band is generating from revenue, from merch sales, from gigs, things like that. Knowing where your expenses are going, where your money is going, not just for accountability to each other, but as accountability as a group of, are we wasting money? Yeah. No one, the band, the money side's not the glamorous side, guys. This is not.
Side.
This is the boring side that no one wants to think about. Like when you're 15 years old wanting to start a band, you're not sitting there thinking about managing the financial side. But I'm telling you now, if you're a young musician and you've made it this far into the video for some ungodly reason, firstly, thank you very much. Like, share, and subscribe. Hit the little bell so you get the notification when our videos go up. All that good shit. Follow us on Facebook if the kids even use that anymore. Follow us on Twitch because we do the live streams most of the time on Twitch. That good shit. All that good shit. But please, for the love of all that is unholy, if you are a young up-and-coming musician and you want to start a band and you want to learn how to manage the finances, because if you're doing that, you'll be a step ahead of most people, and have a plan. Don't throw your money away on pointless shit. Talk to people. If you play a gig with an older band, pick their brain about this stuff.
Yep.
Because I guarantee you, it's the side that most people don't think about, and it's the side that lets down most people. So you always got to be on top of your finances, whether that's, if you're not going to do it yourself, still have checks and balances in place.
Get someone else to do it.
If you're big and you've got a manager that's handling a lot of your stuff, great. Independently of your manager, hire someone else to do the checks and balances.
Hire an auditor to check your manager.
Hire an auditor. Hire your own accountant to cross-check everything. Because I guarantee you, it's gonna save you money. It will be worthwhile to spend that little bit of money to have that peace of mind and potentially avoid a scenario like this where hundreds of thousands of dollars is stolen. Mm-hmm. So good on this. I'm glad this guy was found guilty of so many charges, and he's going to be sentenced, as I said, once he's sentenced in September. We'll come back. We'll give you guys another update. I mean, we'll be back before then, obviously.
Oh, yeah, we'll be keeping a fucking eye on this. We'll be keeping... it's so... I really can't reaffirm.
We're definitely going to keep on top of this story, for sure.
Go, guy. I was a bit not a big Guy Sebastian fan, but if you're doing this for this reason, I am right behind you, brother. Stick that bloke to the wall, get every cent back that is worth to you, and make sure this can never happen to anyone again. What you're doing now will hopefully help someone else out in the future. Good on you, Guy.
Absolutely. So that's all we got for you today, guys. I know we ran through a whole bunch of news there. There was probably some more. Let us know, guys, what we've been thinking about, making some changes to the way we run things here. We've been looking at maybe trying to do every day or maybe every other day news videos. So if that's something you guys would like to see, let us know. Say it in the comments. Send us an email, twodudestalkmusic@gmail.com. We are on Twitch under Two Dudes Talk Music, Facebook Two Dudes Talk Music. That's pretty much what we are everywhere. Just look for the orange logo. Look for the orange logo
and our heads.
The orange logo and our fucking heads and shit on there. What have you got going on, man? What have you got coming up? Have you got anything interesting any more stuff with you, buddy?
No, I've been lazy. I've been putting all my focus. I've been focusing on the kids and this because this is just so much fun. But I'm getting back. I'm getting back into the beer reviews, man. I'm getting back into the beer reviews. Nice. There's going to be a beer review coming out this weekend, and we are going to be doing another psychedelic talk on beer, buddy.
Question for you. Question for you on the
Yeah.
beer buddy thing. Do you just, in terms of the beer reviews, is it just beers or do you do other alcohols as well?
Thank you for that because you just reminded me. Beer Buddy's a fan of rum.
I'm telling you now, I got one for you. You want to keep an eye on Karu Distillery, Karu. Big shout out to Ali and Nick. Karu Distillery.
Karu
Yeah,
Distillery.
yeah. They are they're a distillery out in west of Sydney or northwest sort of thing.
Can you give me the address?
Blue
Can you?
Mountains. Yeah,
Can you
man. I'll link it to you.
Send me the
I'll link it to
address.
you.
Send me the address, and if you know them, I'll go out there and I'll do a feature video for them. I'll go out there and I'll film.
Yeah, man. I'll send you the thing, man. Yeah, yeah. Hit them up. Tell them I sent you, and it'll be cool because I think they're getting ready to release a rum. They've had it in the works for a while. They've done so far a couple of gins and a vodka. Their gins are like global gold medal winning quality stuff.
I'm going to turn it to gin, buddy.
So like the rum's probably going to be just as good. So
Right.
definitely, I'll definitely, yeah. You want to keep an eye on that? I'll send you the info.
No, I've just pulled it up. I'm gonna hit him up. But yeah, we're back into the beer reviews on Beer Buddy. We're gonna be
Good.
talking about drugs and psychedelic shit because I love it.
That's good. That's good. I am probably going to be going to bed almost straight away after this because I'm pretty fucking wrecked. But hopefully
I'm gonna
be
get
feeling
Ed.
better. Hopefully be feeling better in the next couple of days.
You will be.
Just been working on the Skunk Bone demos. That's been a lot of fun. Trying to get some of those underway. Working towards the next album, so that's good. Some upcoming changes in terms of life and work, which is going to be interesting. Should give me a bit more free time, so you might be seeing a lot more of us posting a lot more frequently. Might
Yes.
even maybe stream some gaming or something and
You have to.
talk shit on the YouTube not the YouTube the
Twitchies.
the Twitch. That sounds like it might be fun. If you'd be interested in that, yeah, let us know. Jump in the comments, hit us up, let us know what you want to see, what games you might want to see us playing. I just been playing Stray recently. That just came out.
That's that new cat
the last
game.
couple. Yeah. Quite good. Very probably shorter than I was hoping for,
It's an indie
but-
game,
but it is an indie game. So sort of environmental puzzle solving a little bit in the vein of like Portal in some ways. You kind of got to look at your environment and go, okay, where am I? Where can I go? What am I looking for? Like it'll give you a clue about something, and then you'll have to go and look around the area from that clue and figure out what you got to do to solve what you're looking for. But a little bit of collectibles, but not too much. I would have liked the ability to go backwards into sort of revisit an area that I had already been in, to get some more collectibles and things like that. But live and learn. It's a really, really. It was a very fun game, very endearing. The ability to play as the cat's quite nice. You can do all sorts of cat stuff. You can go up to a lot of stuff.
Do you do that weird licky thing? Where you
Yeah.
stick your leg up in the air?
No, at least I didn't. I wasn't able to find a button to do that. But you can go up to a lot of surfaces or like carpets and scratch the floors or the edge of the couch or the walls. You can get a bag stuck on your head, which actually inverts your controls. So it's like you're confused and don't know where you go, which I think is great. You can push things off shelves like a cat does. There's a meow button, which I was like addicted to, just randomly pressing all the time. And I keep seeing videos of people playing the game and their real life cats being like, "What's going on? Why is there a cat there?" And like trying to interact with the cat on the screen, which is just that's fun. But yeah, definitely if you've been thinking about getting it, if you've been on the fence, I'd say get it because it was a lot of fun to play, even if it was kind of short. So I'm hoping that this gets them a lot of success, and whatever they do next, if they bring out a sequel, that it's able to be bigger and better. So maybe I'll even do a playthrough of that on the stream.
Do it. I'll watch it.
If I jump on the live stream, maybe people can watch me do that, huh?
Yeah, do it.
But yeah, so that's kind of what I've been up to.
I love
That's
it.
what you've been up to. That is the music news
Yeah, man.
for the fortnight. We will be back live on Twitch Thursday next week.
28.
We will have the man himself, Brad from Nuclear Vision, coming on to talk about the revival of the band, the new lineup, some gigs that they got coming up. So that's going to be a hell of a lot of fun. Very much looking forward to having Brad on and chatting about that. So
And make
stay
sure you
tuned.
make sure you tune in because it's just after his birthday and it's just
It
before
is.
my birthday, so it's probably gonna get out of fucking hand.
It is. Oh. I do have work the day after that, so
Maybe we push it to the 29th.
I don't know. He's probably working.
Oh, okay.
But let's see. I'll talk to him. But yeah, you'll want to tune in for that one because
It'll
that's
be a
going to
fucking
be a
good
grand
one.
old time. That's going to be a grand old time. So with that, thank you very much for hanging out with us. We know it's been a bit of a mission, but yeah,
So much news.
Like, share, subscribe. So much news. That's why we are going to try and change them and do them the news videos a bit more frequently. So yeah, but thanks for tuning in. Stay rad. Be kind to yourselves. You fucking deserve it. And we'll catch you guys next time.
Peace.